Welcome to SVG TV News for Tuesday, October 25th, 2022. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. The government will be taking a focused approach in 2023 to tackle the rising cases and prevalence of chronic non-communicable diseases, NCDs, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This was pointed out in Parliament today by Minister of Health, Wellness and the Environment, Sinclair Prince, who says NCDs are the leading cause of deaths in the country and responsible for most amputations. Prince says for the period 2014 to 2016, there were a total of 170 amputations, 69 amputations below the knee and 101 amputations above the knee.
Interventions are not taking NCDs seriously enough. We haven't been speaking about it enough, and those who have been listening have not been paying attention enough. We need to do something about NCDs. Our approach to NCDs has to change. We have to start talking about our diet, about our inactivity, about our abuse of, let's say, alcohol or tobacco. I know some of it is hereditary, but we can do a lot. Somebody, everybody here, I think, knows somebody or is related to somebody who has suffered or is suffering from a particular NCD. Whether it's heart problems, strokes, diabetes, you name it. It is a killer. And it has killed and will kill more people than COVID-19. So the Ministry of Health is going to put a lot of emphasis on this particular area come 2023.
And hundreds of Vincians joined the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment last Saturday for the launch of Vinci Moves, which seeks to bring awareness to NCDs locally and in the region. The day's activities commenced with a fitness walk along different routes, including Belmont, Stubbs and Lomans Leeward, and then at the E.T. Joshua Tarmac, where they were racing, after which the crowd went over to the Arnoldville Sporting Complex for the launching ceremony. Addressing the gathering, Minister of Health, Wellness and the Environment, Sinclair Prince, says Vinci Moves, which is a Caribbean initiative, is one of the many ways they are seeking to tackle NCDs.
Because the heads of government of the Caribbean have been advised by the experts in public health that non-communicable diseases are some of the biggest killers here in the Caribbean, and you know in St. Vincent and the Grenadines also. And one of the ways in preventing that is by activity, exercises. Of course, there are other ways. So we are saying that this particular activity has to continue, not just today. You didn't come out for a lime. You have to be on the move all the time. I am happy that you felt motivated to come here in your numbers, to join with us in the Ministry of Health as we continue to educate people about what they need to do about their health, because health is a shared responsibility.
Minister Prince told the gathering that the Ministry of Health last Friday received equipment and tools from the government of Taiwan for the construction of prosthetic limbs to assist diabetics who may have lost their leg as a result of the disease.
Just yesterday, I received from Taiwan and a hospital in Taiwan some equipment and tools for the construction of prosthetic limbs. False foot now, right? The reason for that is because we have a number of people living without their lower limbs. That is because of diabetes. And diabetes is one of the diseases we are trying to attack by having this particular event. Just one of them. The non-communicable diseases, like the cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, heart attacks and so on. You know, everybody here knows somebody who has been affected or are now being affected. These persons are now being affected by these NCDs. So we have to do something about it.
Minister Prince says the Ministry of Health is also looking to transform the Enams Health Center into a national wellness center, which will be retrofitted with particular focus on NCDs.
I know many of you think you're young and it won't affect you, but later on it will. It is a silent killer. So you have to continue to move. Vinci moves. You have to continue to eat healthy. You have to continue not to abuse alcohol and tobacco. So all of these, we are trying to put into one spin, into one activity today. And we hope that you will continue to take the message to your villages and your towns, to your homes, to your schools, that we need to attack the NCDs head on. I've already spoken to the officials in the Ministry of Health, and we intend to make 2023 the year when we will ramp up our attack on this scourge of non-communicable diseases. And we want you to help. And the way you can help is by spreading the message. Go to the hospital and you will see the number of people who are there suffering. And those at home who can't move off their beds, they are suffering. You can help. And this is one way in which you can help, by helping yourself.
And Parliament today passed a bill which seeks to establish a medical laboratories council to provide for the licensing, monitoring and inspection of the operations of medical laboratories and related matters. The bill was presented by Minister of Health Sinclair Prince, who says the legislation is significant and timely.
To say also that it comes at a time when we are very busy, very critical period in the delivery of health services here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It is the period of pandemic, volcanic eruptions, climate change. It is also the time when we are focusing on NCDs and the re-emergence of diseases. And I might add that it is a time when we are doubling down, Madam Speaker, on the reformation and indeed revolution of the health sector here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because we are indeed expanding and modernizing the health sector. Madam Speaker, the bill, as we were told earlier, has come out of a select committee which had the input of a wide cross-section of stakeholders, including officials of the National Laboratory System, representation from all of the private sector laboratories, medical association, pharmaceutical association, medical professionals in their own right, the medical board, and so on. Of course, we had the select committee of Parliament also at that particular meeting. So there was wide representation examining this model bill, drafted at the level of the OECS, and also perused by our own legal experts at the Attorney General's office. At the end of the deliberations and consultations, there was consensus on the final product which we have before Parliament today.
Minister Prince says it is obvious that medical services are expanding in SVG very quickly, both at private and public sector levels, and as a consequence, diagnostic services have been increasing. He says the accurate and reliable diagnosis are the foundation of the country's disease prevention and management thrust, noting that labs are very critical to clinical and public health management.
We have seen the role played, Madam Speaker, honorable members, by these labs during the COVID-19 pandemic. The lab was central to our fight in this war. If we didn't have the lab, and if it wasn't upgraded at the time, to the point where we were able to not send samples overseas, then the COVID-19 fight would have been lost, I venture to say. In all our public health challenges, the labs continue to be critical. We have seen how they handled Zika, chikungunya, HIV, COVID-19, and there will be more. We have been told by experts that we will see the re-emergence of diseases that we thought were dead. We will see new diseases coming on hand. As we continue to battle these new and emerging diseases, lab information will continue to be critical, not only for the diseases, but for the NCDs, those diseases, but the NCDs as well, cancer, cardiovascular, diabetes, etc.
The Health Minister further told Parliament that there is a need for legislation to ensure medical labs meet international standards and provide the critical and reliable support needed for the health of local and visitor populations.
We know that a lab result is only as accurate as the quality of the lab system that provided it. This is important. We never had any laws before to deal with these issues at that level. We should not have to be worried or uncertain about our test results or even about the laboratory itself. But if they remain unregulated, unmonitored, we will never be sure. someone needs to go to the lab and feels comfortable that the results they're going to get are the correct results, and that the medical officer is able to give them a diagnosis and treatment that is correct. That's how important this thing is. Madam Speaker, during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, many new pop-up labs and suppliers of testing kits surfaced. It was opportunistic. There was a demand, and therefore they just jumped right in to fill that demand. Many of them were not in the business of selling supplies or even doing laboratory tests, but they became involved. The Ministry of Health found it a challenge to curtail these activities by individuals and entities. The activities threatened to derail the credibility of our testing protocols. But of course, we were able to get on top of that in short order. It became evident that urgent action, Madam Speaker, was needed to regulate these services nationally.
Noting that the Medical Lab Bill 2022 is a key piece of legislation to regulate the environment in which medical laboratories and lab professionals will be allowed to operate in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Minister Prince says the bill will also help to support the government's national laboratory policy designed to streamline operations of medical labs in such a way that they produce timely, accurate and reliable results as they seek to deliver quality health care for the population.
5(6) of the bill provides for general matters, provides for establishment of the Medical Laboratories Appeal Tribunal, because this is absolutely important, that we're not just going to, we don't just want people to go around and inspect and tell you that you have to close down because you have A, B, C or D without giving you a chance to appeal and to come forward with whatever solutions you have. So there is an appeal tribunal set out in this bill. Clause 46 requires the operator and staff of a medical laboratory to maintain the confidentiality of all reports and records relating to a person and results of a test except for the purpose of disclosure to a medical practitioner. Madam Speaker, in clause 54, I think we were able to add this one at the first committee meeting. 54, transition. Persons operating before the act is passed may continue to do so for a period of 9 months without a license. In other words, we're not going to say, okay, we have an act now, we don't have a license, so shut down. We're going to give you 9 months to do so. And in that time, we expect it to come up to par. And the council will continue to monitor. So, Madam Speaker, this bill potentially is a game changer as we try to deliver quality care here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Giving support to the bill, opposition MP for West Kingstown, Daniel Cummins, says they do not have any quarrel in principle with the regulation of private laboratories, noting that it is a necessary step.
Importantly, members of the public will have an opportunity to see if the private laboratory is in fact licensed or if that license has been revoked. And that becomes critical because no one wants to be able to put their lives in the hands of people who are not competent to do quality work for them. Pointing out one issue of concern with respect to the arrangements in place for monitoring laboratories. And this comes out of practical experience, Madam Speaker. There's nothing in this bill that controls the quality of staff that an institution may have to actually perform the test. You could have a laboratory that has the proprietor who is very competent and meets the requirement, but there isn't the further requirement for those persons who are performing the tests to undergo the necessary level of training and continue training. And I think it therefore is important that we dig deeper to make sure that the laboratories have a system in place that ensures that at all stages at every stage of the procedure, the competent staff has some overview.
While acknowledging that the issues raised by the opposition MP are important, Prime Minister Dr. Raul Gonsalves gave the assurance that there is a framework in place to deal with the issues.
Addresses laboratory practitioners. And it says a laboratory practitioner, A, means a medical technologist registered under the relevant written law. There's a law addressing that, those professionals. And B, includes another person falling within the prescribed categories or who is employed and perform tasks of a technical nature in a medical laboratory. I know the honorable member spoke also about persons who actually receive samples. Well, there'll be regulations as to that particular process too, for the operation of the laboratory and for a license to be issued. Then under J, Madam Speaker, sorry, I first, governing the operations of a medical laboratory, regulations would be made for that. And J, without limiting paragraph I, which is the one just before, the regulations will be made concerning the performance of a test in a medical laboratory, establishing the standards for the premises in which a medical laboratory is located, and requiring and governing the making, maintaining, and retaining of the records by a licensee.
The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is piloting its point-of-sale payment system for a number of its services. Commencing today, October 25th, 2022, citizens are now able to pay for services utilizing credit and debit cards at Customs and Excise, Inland Revenue Department, and the Commerce and Intellectual Property Office, CIPO. This forms part of the World Bank-funded Caribbean Digital Transformation Project, which has identified the development of citizen-facing digital government services as key priority. Additionally, the government is expected to launch soon its interim e-payment platform, GovPay, which can be used to pay for a number of services online. The Agency for Public Information says the piloting and rollout of these services form part of the government's Digital Transformation Trust aimed at improving the user experience for citizens accessing public services and improve the efficiency of internal government operations. The API says currently, Consultancy Associates Limited, Hong Kong, is providing consultancy services for the assessment, design, and development of technical specifications for a full-scale e-payment platform. According to the API, these services are expected to impact all citizens, particularly those living in the Grenadines, North Windward and North Leeward, enabling consumers to access services and information without time-consuming and costly physical journeys. The Digital Transformation Project is expected to focus heavily on 8 main components: data protection, cybersecurity, single window for land and property transactions, single window for trade facilitation, e-government, architecture, e-tax unique digital ID, and electronic payments. In other news, it looks like it's going to be a rainy night as the SVG Met Services is advising residents that cloudy skies, pockets of moderate showers, and possible isolated thunderstorms are anticipated to intensify throughout tonight as a tropical wave affects the islands. The Met Services says the conditions are expected to persist along Wednesday as trailing instability lingers, and that early morning showers are also likely on Thursday. However, some marginal improvement remains a possibility as the day progresses, with a mixture of sunshine and showers forecast. On Friday, the Met Services says the Intertropical Convergence Zone, the ITCZ, where north and southeast trade winds meet, is expected to migrate northward and bring unsettled weather conditions to the islands. Residents and motorists in areas prone to flooding and landslides and near rivers and streams are asked to remain on the alert. Small craft operators and seabathers are also asked to exercise caution for above normal sea swells and occasional gusty winds with varying concentrations of Saharan dust haze to move across the islands from Wednesday. The Met Services says it will continue to closely monitor the feature and provide necessary updates. 73 students receives award at the National Schools Independence Rally held today at the Victoria Park. In his address to the gathering, Minister of Education Curtis King says despite numerous challenges, the students did well in their studies this year and congratulated them on their performance.
You make Vinci proud. So today, a grateful and proud nation salutes you, honors you, and recognizes your success and achievements. Congratulations to you all, and of course a special congratulations to the 73 persons who will this morning or sometime throughout this day receive their just awards for their outstanding performances academically. I want to remind you that your performances, your success, your achievements give our country renewed hope. It gives us a sense that a brighter future awaits us. I thank God Almighty for His saving mercies. We are here today because He made a way. In closing, let me remind you.
The awards handed out today include bursaries, exhibitions, special awards, and national scholarship awards. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves noted that 12 more students receive awards this year over last year.
We exceed that record, and we are awarding 73. It is not that we have dropped the standards for the awards. They are the same like last year. And for those who want to badmouth your performance and devalue it, facts don't lie. When we arrived in government, there used to be a fixed number of 4. 4. That was all. I ain't talking 4%, you know. I'm talking the numerals 1, 2, 3, 4. How do we award these scholarships, national exhibitions, special awards, and bursaries? We don't make it up as we go along. There are guidelines and rules.
The Prime Minister also noted that over 20 students are receiving national awards this year, amounting to $12.5 million. He further encouraged the students to continue to excel and stay focused on their educational journey.
I promise you, do well, and we will find the money. Wrap your head around that number for the 21 of you. And that means when you go university, you can't fool wrong. You have earned it. And the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, through the instrumentality of your government, we are prepared to spend that kind of money on you. That is just the national scholarships. Then we have 17 national exhibitions. These 17 national exhibitions are the same terms like the national scholarships, except to say they are 3 years. So, where you have the annual value in the region of $120,000, the value for each of those national exhibitions is about $360,000. And you all bright, do the math. Multiply that quick by 17. That's what it costs, you know.
And the National Schools Independence Rally was held today after a 2-year absence due to the COVID-19 pandemic and the eruptions of La Soufrière volcano last year. The rally, which was hosted by the Ministry of Education in collaboration with the National Independence Committee, was held under the theme, Our Resilience, Our Fortitude, and Our People. Addressing the event, Chief Education Officer K. Martin Jack said that St. Vincent and the Grenadines is our home, and home is where one should care for each other, and urges the students to be nicer to their peers and end all bullying.
So stop the bullying that we hear of so often, stop the fighting, and remember how we got to where we are today. Remember that we are all equal and we have our nation to build. We all have a role to play, and we all have a place where we belong on this, our Hairuna. And so, our greatest strength is you, our people, united and resilient, steadfast and resourceful in good times and bad. In our moment of crisis, we as Vincentians have continued to look ahead and to pour our hearts and our souls into achieving our hopes and dreams.
Students at the rally showcased their talent as they celebrate the 43rd anniversary of SVG's independence.
I love you, St. Vincent, home of the blessed St. Vincent. St. Vincent, St. Vincent, I love you.
Royalty, St. Vincent is royalty, St. Vincent is royalty. She has no diamonds, no pearls, no Bill Gates, no Franklin Benjamin. It's all in her lost vegetation, her black beaches and sister islands, St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
And at the opening of the Everything Vinci Expo yesterday, Minister of Finance Camila Gonzalez encourages Vincentians to embrace local products and buy local. He told the gathering that the COVID-19 pandemic and the spike in inflation have forced people to realize that things that can come from foreign cost a lot more money than you can get locally.
That because inflation in America is high, and shipping with tropical is expensive, and containers are expensive, and customs service charge is high, well, try buying something local. Instead of buying the foreign cereal, buy a local one. Instead of buying clothes from the foreign designer, try it from a local one. Instead of importing your gifts at Christmas time and paying Mr. Amazon, Mr. Bezos, for all of the gifts. Buy some local ones. Instead of having a party and bringing in a foreign DJ, hire Epic Song Steel Orchestra. Because we have within us the products, the talent, the capacity, the ingenuity, and the support to move a lot of the complaints that we're having right now about foreign inflation and foreign imported costs.
According to the finance minister, we have reached a point now that everyone must understand and appreciate the scope and quality of the products that are available in SVG.
I see Her Majesty, the Queen of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, approaching. I want to, as the one Queen, I will greet formally from the platform. Welcome, Miss SVG. But the point I'm making is that we've reached a point now where we have to start looking and knowing and understanding the scope and breadth and quality of the products that we have here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Which is why, leading out of this Expo SVG, which runs for five days, coming out of that and for the remainder of the year, Invest SVG is going to spearhead a Buy Local, Buy Vinci campaign, which will try to encourage all of us to just swap out one foreign thing you buy with one more local thing. At Christmas time, which is coming up, buy an additional local gift. Go to the supermarket, buy an additional local product. Swap out one of the foreign ones. And if you do that, you will be doing more to contribute to the recovery of St. Vincent and the Grenadines post-volcano, post-COVID, post-conflict, than anything else that you could credibly do on your own. So what we're going to say is, go take a look through here, through the Expo, look at the things that you have never seen before, look at the things you've never bought before, and buy one. And when you go to the supermarket next month, look for those Vincentian products and buy them. And we are going to, as Invest SVG, have a few pop-ups in different locations. Not a mini expo might be too much to call it, but few pop-ups in different areas between now and the end of the year that will also highlight local products, local talent, local ingenuity, and we're going to encourage you again to buy one. Honorable Leader of the Opposition, I think this is something that both of us can agree on. Local purchases, local consumption, local production. Let us all get together and not make everything Vinci a 5-day event. Let us make it a part of our lives, that we all get together and support Vincentian businesses, and in that way support each other, support the economy, and support the growth of this wonderful country. Happy Independence and welcome to Everything Vinci.
Our news team spoke to some of the exhibitors at the Everything Vinci Expo, who shared a bit about their products.
This is the brand, and this brand is registered internationally. Okay, so nobody else can, no one else have that power to use that. The thing is, this is my first public event because my husband and myself were ambassadors in Venezuela. Okay, so during my spare time, I decided to take advantage of the opportunities there and to make handbags. Okay, the thing is that what happened there is that there were a variety of material that we didn't have here in St. Vincent, and also with the wide range of embassies that had products there. You know, they would have their fabric, so a lot of, like, my bags are made from batik, from, like, even this one, and that other one is made from bamboo. That one over there, yes. So it was right for me to take advantage of what was there, and so that's what I did. And then I had someone who manufactured these bags for me. I gave them the model, I gave them the material, tell them exactly what I want, and then they would give me what I was looking for. You see, the thing is that we have to up our mark here in terms of production. Because when I came back and I inquired how would it be making it here, I realized we do not have that facility to do this kind of work.
Business is about letting people know that they can still eat healthy even though everything is plant-based. Some people think that eating healthy, like being a vegetarian or a vegan, it's unhealthy and they cannot make it. They say it's too expensive, but I believe that being a vegetarian or a vegan, it's not really expensive. You have to grow what the body needs and you eat what you grow. So back to Eden is simply telling you that you are going back to the original diet that God really wants us to follow. And this is a lovely granola here. It's oats baked in coconut milk. So you don't have to add milk to it. You can just add some water and that creamy coconut milk would come off when it go in that hot ginger tea or whatever you want to put it in.